Pennsylvania. A bizarre death puzzles officials. But was it premeditated murder or something else?
We have to forget about human side. Just focus on fact.
1 year after Elaine Long's death, Carl Long's defense attorneys were trying desperately to save him from a lifetime in prison. With the help of Dr. Henry Lee, defense attorneys were trying to confirm Carl Long's bizarre explanation that his wife Elaine suffocated when he fell on top of her. The prosecution believed she was murdered, suffocated under a plastic bag that bore Long's fingerprints. With Tim Palmbach, director of the Forensic Science Program at the University of New Haven, Dr. Lee returned to the Long home to recreate what his investigation of Elaine's death revealed.
You notice have a knife on the back. Because this knife is curvature, the diameter changes from the tip to the middle of the blade to the hilt. Have a variation.
Now you think that's going to have some relevance to how far that knife went into Dr. Long's chest?
To determine how deep the knife penetrated into Dr. Long's chest, Dr. Lee took an identical knife and inserted it into a gelatin block at various steps until the slit at the top matched the width of Dr. Long's wound. The depth of the wound clearly demonstrates that this was more than a superficial stabbing. At last, a real piece of evidence for the defense, but there were more questions to answer. If the wound was deep enough to cause someone to faint, why were there only 2 cc's of blood found at the scene? It seemed to Dr. Lee that the investigators had underestimated the amount of blood lost by Dr. Long. He explained his theory to defense attorney Carolyn Roberto.
So when we look at the amount of blood on the bag, this is more than 2 cc and could be reached to 5 cc, that volume. And 5 cc volume, that's quite a bit of blood, which indicates to us that's not a superficial cut, it's actually a stabbing.
And another question, why hadn't Elaine wriggled out from beneath her husband, heavy though he was? And the defense had an answer.
When we reviewed the medical records, we did find that she had a history of fainting. So it all fell together that it medically appeared that it was more reasonable than not that she had a fainting spell under this condition of stress.
But there was still one critical piece of damning evidence. The plastic bag with Dr. Long's fingerprints that the prosecution believed was the murder weapon.
When we examined the bag, we did not see any stretch mark, no indication a force was exerted on it.
If, as the evidence suggested, Dr. Long did not force the bag on Elaine's face, how did it get there?
What appeared to have happened is Carl fell on top of her. She began to lose consciousness. She was maybe turning. She fainted as well, and the plastic was on her face. The plastic bags were just in a ruffle at the bottom of the bed, and it's our belief that she fell into the bags, and that is when the suffocation occurred.
Middle of the night, woke up, Elaine come with a knife. 2 of them probably fighting, tried to get hold of the knife. During that process, he got stabbed. She probably face down somehow, some point of time. His body weight on top of her probably crushed her with a chest compression. I hear with the blood, some saliva material, so that kind of suffocated her.
That would stick to her face.
Stick to her face.
Carl Long's defense team now believed they had a solid case, supported by scientific evidence that Elaine's death was accidental. The prosecution wanted a conviction for murder in the first degree and an automatic sentence of life in prison. The defense hoped for an acquittal or a verdict of manslaughter. Instead, the jury surprised everyone by finding Carl Long guilty of third-degree murder.
Third-degree murder, there is a wide range of discretion. The lowest sentence that the judge could impose is a sentence of 5 to 10 years. And indeed, that's what Judge Ober imposed upon Carl, a 5 to 10 year sentence.
I testified in the court, presented a fact to the jury and judge. Later, jury found him third degree of a homicide, which much reduced than the first degree homicide. I did not see any intention in this scene.